Happy Spiritual Sunday. Welcome to Boca. Just think, it may not be too long. We'll learn how to teleport ourselves. And, we'll actually have these people showing up here. Or we'll show up there. Right? Welcome to Spiritual Sunday from Hong Kong, Macedonia, Cape Town. Okay. All right, let's start with our affirmation before I go too far out here. So those of you here in the room, you can see there. Those of you who are online with us, it's another opportunity to strengthen. We do this every week, and sometimes, the opponent in our heads is going to say, well, you do it every week, you do it every week. Yeah, we are doing it every week, because every week between Sunday and Sunday, how many times does the opponent beat you or beat me in the competition? Where we fall to our fear, jealousy, insecurity, judgment, impatience, and on and on and on. Okay, well, don't you want to beat the opponent? Yes or yes? How about you guys out there? You want to beat your opponent? Have peace on earth, harmony, joy, heaven on earth, Garden of Eden? Okay, Las Vegas says yes. Okay, so let's say our affirmation, but not just say it. We want to allow it to be engraved deeper and deeper in our heart and the mind of the Creator inside of us. So we'll say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness to all human beings. All right. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if we can hold that consciousness. So think of how you may have similar circumstances in your life. So over the years, of course, I've heard probably almost everything you could think of, but one of the complaints that I've heard for a while or often, Chaim, you tell me, use the Zohar, scan, give tithing, help, do this and this, and my business is going well, but this other guy just came in, has a similar business, and within 2 months, the guy's making 3 times what I'm making. It just doesn't seem right? Doesn't seem fair. You have anything like that? Or here's the other one for some of us. I know people, I see them, they can eat anything, and they're still slim. Me, I look at food, and the scale goes up. Oh, see, that people can relate to better. Okay. All right. So unfair, right? It's unfair. It's unfair. Okay, so we want to ask ourselves, think about it. When you say something is unfair, number one, why is it unfair? Think about, why is it unfair? And then the second part is, who's at fault? Right? Who are we going to blame? Who's at fault for those things that we look at as unfair? We don't think of that. We just throw out there, it's unfair, it's unfair, it's unfair, it's unfair, it's unjust, it's not right. But now let's stop to think. Consciousness is everything. That's what we learn here. Because as we change and elevate our consciousness, so will elevate our life. And if you think about, quicksand, the show where you see people sinking into quicksand? No? Okay. Right? You want to be elevated out of the quicksand. No, you don't want to be stuck in the quicksand going deeper and deeper into the mud, into the darkness and the chaos. You want to be elevated. So the more we elevate our consciousness into the light, that we're channeling the light, the easier it will be for us to get out of our spiritual mud. But here, you and I have also learned, in the mud, in the darkness, is where the light is hiding. So if we're asking ourselves and praying, meditating, whatever you want to call it, scanning, thinking to do our spiritual work, to elevate ourselves, to have greater blessings, to reveal more of our potential, we always come back to the same fundamental thought. The Zohar says very simply, light can only come out of darkness, which seems like a paradox, no? We think of darkness as darkness, but you and I are here constantly reminding ourselves there really is no such thing as darkness. There's only the infinite light of the Creator. So then why do people see darkness? The same way in this room. The room is lit up, yes or yes? So how could we create darkness in this room without touching a light switch? No, darkness. How could you create darkness in the room that's lit up physically? Cover your eyes. Put on a blindfold. Close your eyes. The moment you close your eyes, even though the room is completely lit up, what do you see? Darkness. Darkness. So if that's true physically, what about spiritually? When we close the eyes of our heart, as the Zohar calls it, the eyes of our heart, so too then we see all the darkness. So here we are talking today specifically about that which is unfair and unjust. And so we'll have a common ground. Why are things unfair and unjust? What does that really mean to us? It means it doesn't seem to fit the rules. Especially you and I. Anybody who's learning in the center for sure, or has any background in spiritual teaching, what's the one fundamental rule? Cause and effect. Like attracts like. Similarity of form. Law of affinity. So we usually think good for good, bad for bad. So then when we say something is unfair, unjust, what are we really saying? Doesn't seem to fit that rule. It looks like bad people get good things get good people get bad things. It's unfair and it's unjust. Let's go one more step. You ready? Not sure? Are you ready? So if you won the lottery today, you go to your car and you hear announced on the radio, you won $5 million in the lottery. Are you now going to say, oh, how could it be? Why me? There's so many people out there who put their $5, $10 into the lottery. They didn't win the lottery. I won the lottery. How unfair and how unjust. Would you say that? Oh, But it's 1 in a million, 1 in 5 million, 1 in 20 million. Why is that not unfair, unjust? Or if a person just escaped, right? They were just either behind far enough, a few seconds, or ahead by a second from a 4-car pileup. And you were not the one in the 4 cars, but were right there close in the same moment. You following me? Would you also then say, oh, how unfair and unjust? Those other people, they got in the accident. How not us? Yes or no? Oh, no. So then where does unfair and unjust come in? When we perceive bad things for us or bad things for other people, because it relates to bad things for us. If we feel there's unfairness in our life because it looks like bad things happen when we're doing good things or whatever, that's when, because like will attract or connect to like, then we'll look out in the world and we will think we see. With our 5 senses, we will see all the things that look unfair and unjust in the same way. Look at these poor people, whatever, they got prosecuted, these people had the hurt, this one had the trouble, this one, this and this, unfair and unjust, right? But when you look at the lottery winners out there and you bought $100 worth of tickets, do you say how unfair and unjust? Yes, it's unfair and unjust. I didn't win. You follow? So everything goes back to what? My consciousness. Relativity to me. Relativity to you. That's when it's either unfair or unjust, or it's not. Oh, win the lottery, you meet your soulmate, some amazing thing happens to you. You don't then say unfair and unjust. So we have to start thinking consciously. So now you and I then, guess where we're going? Not into how to win the lottery. We're going to go dig into the things that you are hurtfully feeling unfair and unjust. Let's start looking into those things. Because you and I, as we just said before, there's no such thing as darkness. There's only the light of the Creator. So we have to start digging in and see. Right? So the first step is to hold the consciousness that we will identify something as unfair and unjust when it doesn't look good for us. Okay, that's the first thing. The issue then becomes what? Remember, we have implanted in our head this thing called the opponent, right? We have the opponent, the challenger, the adversary, whatever name you want to give it, the ego. Yeah, okay. What's its purpose? I know some of you, you're in about Kabbalah 25, so it's hard to remember Kabbalah 1. But what's the purpose of this thing we call Satan, the adversary? the challenger, that we planted in our head. What is it really there for in the true spiritual picture? Make us stronger, right? Why in the gym are there weights? To make us stronger, right? They're not there to frustrate us, really. They're there to make us stronger. If you're comfortable with picking up 5 pounds, you got to pick up 6 or 7 or 8, right? So they're not there to cause chaos or problems. They're there to help us be stronger. So you and I have learned from Kabbalah 1, why are there challenges in our life? Why is that opponent there? To make us stronger. Because when we push ourselves, when we exert our spiritual Creator-given muscle of sharing, ability to share the light that the Creator implanted in us, when we exert ourselves against the opponent's desire to receive for oneself alone thought, that's when the light that shines out of us is brighter. That's when we're feeling happier. That's when our life looks better. That's when we can see through the chaos to find a solution to put things back in order. Unfortunately, once a person starts down in today's topic, the slippery slope of unfair, once it's unfair, then what does the opponent have to take us to? Who's at fault? Well, they're at fault, right? They're at fault. And then when we can point the finger enough at other people and other things outside of us that are the fault of our not having what we want, when we want, and how we want, then unfortunately the next step often comes to become victimized, to feel one is a victim. And of course, that's a great feeling. I love the feeling of blame and victimization. Yes, makes you happy? Yeah, we say no. So why do we keep doing it? Even if it's only for the moment, even if it's only small ways, why do we allow ourselves to become victims and blame other people for our difficulty, for our chaos, for our not having what we want when we want? Well, let's put it in a somewhat different perspective. Why do people, what's the term, self-medicate with drugs or alcohol? Does it solve their problems? No, but in the midst of stress, feeling very uncomfortable or whatever, lack, pain, discomfort, why do people do it? Yeah, temporary relief. So we know that in various ways in the physical world, and you and I have learned, and we emphasize here probably every week, if not every other week maybe, what happens in the physical world is just patterned on the spiritual world. So when there are people, and you and I probably in all way, even you say, okay, you don't do drugs and alcohol, let's say, but blame, now we'll understand. Blame and victimization is also a spiritual drug. Because as long as there's someone to blame outside of ourselves, what do we, the person who blames, not have to do? Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Because that's uncomfortable. To accept responsibility for what I do every second of the day, that's difficult. I'm not here to tell you that it's easy. No, it's difficult. So, rather than face responsibility and accepting that my consciousness and my actions create my world, easier just to blame everybody else, fall into a victim. It's a drug. It's a spiritual drug. Instant gratification, but just like in the physical world, doesn't last very long. And therefore, what starts to happen? As we can see with things like drugs and alcohol. So, right, the self-medicate, then it wears off, and then what happens? They're back to feeling a lack in their life, blame, victimization, etc. And then what has to come somewhere down the line until they learn here? Another drug. Blame somebody else. Think about it. How many times do we hear? And again, please, especially if you're new, do not misconstrue what I'm saying. I am not telling you that there are not people who do dastardly things, heaven forbid, to us, or have done to us, or to other people. I'm not saying that. There are people, and you and I, to some extent, maybe minor, but we do the same thing. We do reactive things, they do reactive things. So I'm not saying those things don't happen. But what comes from that, you and I learn here, is absolutely, totally in our hands. We control our destiny, they do not. But the opponent gives us all the reasons, justifications, and rationalization why to blame them. They did say what they said. They did do what they did. People out there are doing what they do and say what they say. But whether we're a victim or a victor over it is in our hands, not theirs. And that's what I want to get across today. It's in our hands, not theirs. So we don't want temporary relief and then have to keep repeating it. Like people who do those things, right? Drugs, high, then they come back, they look at the trouble, get high again. Why not? Because they're feeding the opponent. You feed the opponent, it will keep doing that which is necessary to keep being fed. Stray animals, right? If a person feeds a stray animal, right, whatever it is, what happens? What happens the next day with a stray animal? It comes back again. Why? Because it keeps getting fed. So our opponent, that's a parasitic energy that we implanted in our own head, so it goes everywhere we go. Every time, we'll keep it to today's topic, every time a person acts with blame or victimization, they feed the parasite. So it's going to keep going back to the same feeding hole. Here's another person to blame. Here's another thing to blame. Here's another one. So even if you go back, think about how you see or hear about often people who do. And that's usually when we hear it the most. There's a trial. Somebody committed a horrendous murder. And often what will they say? Go back. Their parents treated them terribly. Kids made fun of them. They'll go with all that. And again, I am not saying those things didn't happen. But not everybody who gets teased, bullied, has bad parents, on and on like that, does those dastardly things. So you and I learn, no, consciousness is everything because it controls the actions we do. But look, even in the 1% physical material world, everybody going back to, oh, the parents treated them bad, they didn't get this, somebody stole their job, whatever it is, there's unfair, blame. But how long can you live like that? I hope that we today will come to the end of our rope. To feel completely fed up with this terrible feeling that happens after the drug of blame. Not during the drug of blame, because during the drug it all feels great, right? Not that I've ever done it, but I've been around people who have, right? Woo, they're high, everything great and wonderful, nothing bothers them, nothing. Until it wears off, and then they're back to the same thing that they were taking the drug to avoid. You understand how it works? So the same thing happens. You and me, don't look at them. It's also us, a little bit of impatience. How many times have you been impatient? Just in the last 3 days. Forget longer than that. Few times? Again, that's your drug. You're impatient. You're judgmental. You're feeling jealous, low egotistical, whatever it may be. Those are our drugs. Okay, it may be whatever, less intense than some things out there, but it's still the same thing. It's the way we self-medicate ourselves. And all you have to do is ask yourself, how long does it last? Are you still happy after 3 days because of the impatience or the judgment or whatever you had 3 days ago? Or because you're here learning in the center and you're making an effort to grow spiritually, do you probably, if you really feel yourself, you probably feel worse off than the first time you were pointing the finger at those other people. Because the brighter our light, the more we grow, the more clear it is where we block ourselves. the more we can feel the pain, the discomfort of our jealousy, ego, insecurity, fear, impatience, whatever it may be. Bright or light. How do you clean your house? If you got to clean your house, you clean in the dark? Why not? Can't see the dirt. Okay, so you turn on a little pen light so you see the big garbage in the house. Okay, you clear the big garbage. Is that how you're really going to clean your house for guests? No, you're going to turn on the brightest light so you see all the smallest dirt so you can get rid of all the dirt. So the higher we grow, the smaller dirt we see. That's why I often tell you, you and me, those of us in the Kabbalah Center who are making an effort to apply this wisdom, our Satan, our opponent, not going to get us with rob a bank, beat people over the head and steal the purse, carjack their car. Not in our level. Not in our level. But the little things, a little impatience, a little judging, take it personally. My favorite example. How many of you have a little anger at drivers who don't drive like you'd like? So I remember the first time I said it, even I was shocked. So you think about it. What are you really saying? You're driving down the street, you're on your way to work or some meeting or some event or whatever, you feel even you're a little late, and there's a guy blocking the road ahead of you driving 30 miles an hour on the freeway. And like people have called it big, the wall of China, because there's 4 lanes and all 4 people driving 30 miles an hour just spaced enough that you can't get around. So what are you really thinking? You know what? When you woke up in the morning, you were wondering why there were those 4 cars sitting outside your garage. And as you pulled out of your driveway, those 4 cars sort of sped off. And they're kind of hanging around you, waiting till you get on the freeway. You get on the freeway and suddenly all 4 of them are synchronized to be blocking your way because they know it's you. No? Some of the people go, yeah, that's right, Chaim, that's how it happened. No, but that's how we act. Like as if they followed us. It was so personal. They followed us. They waited for the right moment to block us. No, but that's how we act. No, we take it personally. And this is why we often say, it's take it personally. Doesn't mean they gave it personally. And even if they want to give it personally, do you have to take it? No. So let's start waking up. We don't want to take it anymore. We want to be at the end of the rope. No more taking it personally, no more blame, no more victimization. Okay, so let's start opening our mind. Let's see. So what does the Kabbalists teach us? And I know every time I say it, I'm sure there's some of us who get a little frustrated because we'd like to think one way or another, we are such good people that we're exempt here and there from the law of cause and effect. We look out at other people, like we said in the beginning. Well, they must be exempt from the law of cause and effect because they're doing negative things and they've got good stuff happening. Or you have the good people who do good things and they got challenges in their life. So there must be exemption to the law of cause and effect. The Zohar says very clearly. And remember, the Zohar is the entire detailed blueprint of the universe. So the source of every religion on earth, the source of every spiritual teaching, the source of every language, the source of every physical science on earth is the Zohar. But, like we often talk about, the scientists haven't discovered everything yet, have they? Do you know, I don't think I've shared this in a while, 1896, the head of the United States Patent Office, patents, came to Congress and said, you might as well close down the patent office because everything that could be invented has been invented. Imagine, yes? So we know today, science hasn't discovered everything. So when a scientist, and again, we're not being disrespectful to people, we're understanding consciousness. So when scientists will tell us, no, what the Zohar says is not true, all they're really saying is, in my book, they have yet to uncover the laws that the Zohar talks about. The same way we often say 2,000 years ago in its written form, the Zohar wrote about good and bad cholesterol. Did the scientists even know what cholesterol was 2,000 years ago? No. No, and even when they discovered cholesterol, they thought there was only bad cholesterol. Then years later, they found good and bad cholesterol. So the Zohar says there is nothing that is not absolutely cause and effect. Nothing. Did I say that enough? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely everything is cause and effect. So why all the difficulty in our life? Why is it there? Okay. Let's ask the better question, because we're students in the Kabbalah Center. You look at the world, things happen. I don't want to say the word, but there's a saying, things happen. No, you're not sure? You're not getting me to say that word. I'm being recorded and I'm right? But you understand, things happen. So what for me, and I hope for you more and more also, one of the most powerful things the center teaches us, and again, it's from Kabbalah 1 forward, which I often will remind you, it's important to take Kabbalah 1 again and again and again, because we've got to keep reinforcing and strengthening and elevating our understanding of Kabbalah 1, because it's the everything. So the blessing, and really ultimately probably the best thing that it teaches us. Now, how to implement it and the tools and the rest of it are what will allow us to act upon it. But one of the most powerful things is, no matter what happens to us, no matter what it is, there is a way that we learn how to turn whatever it is, whatever bad thing it may be, whatever chaotic thing it may be, whatever chaos or disarray or whatever confusion it may represent, there is a way to turn it back to harmony, order, light, and blessing. There is a way, there is a system to turn everything back to order, peace, harmony, blessing, good. Now, just to remind you, what is that based on? How can I say that with absolute certainty? Not that I'm there yet to do it all the but I have absolute certainty it's possible. One of the other fundamental things, how big is the light of the Creator? Infinite. If the light of the Creator is infinite, then there has to be a solution, a healing process, a transformation process to everything. Everything. A person, heaven forbid, is on their deathbed. I'm not saying it's easy, but we have to at least hold in our consciousness there is a way to take that away. Whatever chaos a person is in, trouble with their business, trouble with their health, trouble with a relationship, whatever it may be, no peace of mind. I had somebody recently telling me, something, challenges going on in the business, they can't sleep. So I just pointed out, simple terms, how much support to deal with the problem in the business is not sleeping. Do they think that if they don't sleep, the answer will just come to them? So a person not sleeping, right, because of whatever the issue is, you understand? Will the solution come faster? Will the other people who are doing the not right things suddenly wake up and go, oh, Joe Smith is not sleeping because of what they did, so let's go fix whatever it is. No. Not sleeping doesn't fix anything. Blaming people doesn't fix anything. Anger, hurt, jealousy, greed, ego, insecurity doesn't fix things. Doesn't fix it. There is a system. This is what you and I are learning. And this is why, like with everything else in life, how do you become a better athlete? How do you become better at whatever study, whatever part of wisdom or knowledge you want? Practice. Just keep practice. So the more we practice transformational sharing, the more we practice the pause and just sending the light, acting like the light, the more we practice, the better we get. So practice on the easier things, let's say, and you'll be able to grow your spiritual muscle to be able to face and transform the bigger things, just like physical muscles. You go from 5 to 10 pounds, 10 to 20, like that. Eventually you get to 300 pounds. If that's your goal and you're determined to do it, you could do it. But you got to keep exercising. You got to keep growing in lifting the next level weight, or whatever it may be. So the same spiritually. Bless you. See, true. Yeah, right? The system isn't complicated. It's not unlike other things we don't, it's not like things we're unfamiliar with. We're very familiar with it. We just have to be able to translate it from the physical world to the spiritual world. So then, no matter what it is, because there is no lack of light, the only thing missing, we learn again. When does the light of the Creator, if it's infinite, why is there not peace on earth? If the light is here and all the solutions are here, and everybody's actually filled, as we often speak, everybody's a pure and perfect being of light. So why isn't there peace in the world if the light is infinite? What's missing? We have a word for it. The container, the vessel. The vessel. Like my teachers, the Rav and Karen, would often tell us, you have pure water, right? Water out of the sink. What color does the water look like when you put it in the glass, the vessel? Whatever color the glass is. So if it's a clear glass, the water looks clear. If it's a blue tinted glass, clear water looks blue. If it's a red tinted glass, the water looks red. So the same with the light of the Creator. What form, relative to us in our world, does the light of the Creator, pure, unconditional love, lasting fulfillment, solutions, what does it look like? The vessel we create. So as relative today, when a person creates a vessel of blame and victimization, what does the light look like? Blame and victimization. And therefore, it will give them more things to see and feel blame and victimization about. Because that's what they're empowering. Yeah, I know it's a little tough today maybe, but it's also, if you stop for a moment, it's the most powerful thing we could learn. If you really want to stop with all that negative feeling, the hurt feeling, the terrible feelings that come from that, then take control, take responsibility and decide, no, I'm going to use the law of cause and effect to grow, to have more blessings, to reveal more of my light. Why should I not? The other piece we got to start looking at least I'm going to throw it out there a little bit, because I can hear voices already saying, okay, get it, parents did this, or the teacher did this, so people, didn't take responsibility for how they dealt with things. But what about kids who are born with terrible disease or in terrible circumstances or on and on like that, right? What about that? Looks unfair and unjust. So yes, I agree. If you look with your 5 sense eyes, it's unfair and unjust. If you look at the bigger picture, which is what we learn in the center, you have to add the piece of reincarnation. It's still cause and effect. It's still the same system. It just transcends one lifetime. So, one of the examples that the Rav would often use, and then I'll tell you an actual story from one of the Kabbalists, the Baal Shem Tov, but the Rav would say, imagine, let's say, in the Civil War, just an example here in America. Let's say during the Civil War, and I don't want to pick sides, but one side captured, right, a soldier from the other side. Okay, so now the general of the army that captures the spy or whatever, torturing the spy to get information. You follow the idea? Sadly, it's not an unusual thing in war. So during the torture, let's say the general, we'll just call him, the general takes the eyes out of the spy, right, during the torture. Now, The general leaves that world and now is going to be incarnate in the next life. What could be the effect of having taken the eyes, one or two, out of the spy? What could that general soul be incarnate as in the next lifetime? A blind baby. But if a person only looks at the one life, says, oh my God, how unfair, how unjust. A blind baby. And again, we are not judging people. We are not saying, oh, so therefore it's justified. No, what you and I are awakening is compassion for the pain of other people, because that opponent still exists, so that we're going to take away the opponent and therefore take away all the chaos. If we can remove the angel of death, then there's no more pain and suffering. There's no more chaos. That's what we want to wake up to. But if the opponent in our head can make us believe unfair and unjust, then there's less ability for us to take away all the pain, suffering, and chaos. So there is a story, one of the great Kabbalists, the Baal Shem Tov, that a man came to him complaining about his life, how everything was unfair and unjust. He tried to start a business, didn't go, how this was happening, health, whatever it was. And he asked his Kabbalistic master, why? So the Baal Shem Tov says, I want you to go to this other town and look, ask for this Mr. Smith. We'll use the name. So he travels 3 days, he goes to the town, he walks around, he's asking people, do you know Mr. Smith? And most of the people saying, I don't know, never heard of him, never heard of him, never heard of him. So he finally goes, I don't know, okay, he goes to the barber shop and he sees, thank you very much, it's nice. He goes to the barber shop and he sees, the old geezers on the porch there, hanging out. So he goes to one of the old geezers, he says, do you know of a Mr. Smith? And this one man, don't even mention his name. Why? What? Is he around? No. Thank goodness he died a few years ago. So what's wrong? He says, this guy was a no good, rotten scoundrel. He was the cheapest, thief, blah, blah, blah. It just goes on and on how terrible he is. So the guy's thinking, oh my God, why did my teacher, the Baal Shem Tov, send me here? So he goes back 3 days journey. He goes back to the Baal Shem Tov and he says, look, I went there. The guy's not around anymore. But all they said about him was he was a horrible human being. Why you send me there to go find out about this, to find out why my life is what it is? And the Baal Shem Tov just looked at him and says, because that was you in the last lifetime. So now you're going to wonder why those things happen in his life? You understand? You and I, the same thing. You and I, the same thing. We may not all remember our past lives, but when you see things, let's say from a younger age, that look unfair and unjust, we have to, again, for our ability to beat our opponent and take control, and from this moment forward, make our lives better. Because we create our lives. So we want to get over the victimization and be victors over the circumstances. So realize, okay, maybe if you don't know, but just understand, okay, that happened, so this happened. Now let me pay it off and finish the cycle. Why do I want to start another cycle of spiritual debt by blaming someone or something outside of me? Or just increasing the debt that I already got? No, let's not be foolish. Pay it off. Okay, so wherever I am now, it must be as a result of things I did. Don't let the opponent make you with guilt and shame and all of that. Just say, okay, I'm going to beat my opponent. How do I take control now? So let me just move forward. Let me look at the people out there who either are acting like victims, or maybe the people that you and I victimized in some way. Let me start sending them light. Let me go apologize. Let me start paying my spiritual debt faster so I can get out of the mud and I can start living more and more blessed. I can start to see things in a new way. I can start to appreciate the miracles that happen to me every day that I may not even notice are happening, but I just have greater and greater appreciation for them. So that I get higher and higher and I transcend and I overcome all of the negativity and the mud of this world. Why would you want to put yourself into the mud and the chaos when you could be above and then help draw people up? So even in this lifetime, I had a student, successful, kind of the paradox, successful in life, business, family, this, that, and the other thing. Most people looking at this particular student would say, oh, great life, doing well, happy, okay. Like we all may look at some other person, but this person sharing with me frustration, confusion, certain things in their life that doesn't look like harmony and order. And even over the few years they've been in the center, and they've made effort. Scanning the Zohar, tithing and charity, forgiving people, apology, different things, using the tools. And yet, still, in some level, focused on the things that aren't going the way they'd like them to go. So, in all of our meetings, we go back in various ways, back to the same thing. Appreciate. If you're making an effort to apply the tools of the center and fundamentally supporting the center to spread light and the Zohar around the world and finish all the chaos forever, then you're paying your spiritual debt pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. So I'm sharing this with this student, and recently, in a meditation, came to this person something like I've shared with you here and there that they forgot about, that wasn't clear in their mind while they're looking at their current life, that there was an issue where something happened in their earlier life, teenage years, that in this meditation was reminded to them that they had an anger to God because of circumstances in the family that were difficult, and therefore came the memory that they had anger to God, that they blamed God for the problems in their family. So now, we know the light is the source of everything, and the light is constantly shining on us. So if a person is blocked to the light, then of course there's going to be results in their life. Yes or yes? Got to be, right? That realization, though, as painful as it was in the moment, gave them the greatest ability to take control over their life, because they could unblock that piece of the channel that comes from the upper world to us and through us, and let more light go. So without giving you the details, because maybe they're watching or people may know them, this tremendous miracle happened to them shortly after that realization, and then making the effort to do more sharing, not less. And it was virtually immediate, within 2 days. Something that was told to them that couldn't happen, happened. And the couldn't wasn't just being told by friends, but by, quote, authorities in the particular field. So just to understand another story, and some of you have stories, some of you have heard them. I know if you're watching anything on Kabbalah.com, there's always teachers telling stories of students' miracles. But it just goes back to helping us transcend our limitations and our illusions, that things are unfair and unjust. We have to realize, yes, and again, we're not exempting or excusing people's behavior. They have their own cause and effect, but that's in their life, and we don't want to be stuck in their movie of chaos. But if we have hurt, anger, blame, and victimization towards somebody, then we're in their movie of chaos because we voluntarily jumped in their mud. So we want to extract ourselves from their mud and more of our own mud. We have to act more and more like the light. It's that fundamental, which means what? So yes, actually, like we said last week with the balance, right? When you're feeling angry, act with patience and compassion. When you're feeling jealous, act with gratitude, right? And happiness for other people's good. When you're feeling egotistical, oh, look what I did and look what I got. No, start being humble. It's not me. The Creator gave me the power to do it. The Creator gave me the support to do it. All those things. It's just doing the opposite of whatever you're feeling. That's how you defeat the opponent. You just add to the light and not to the darkness. And those things will take away the veils that don't let us see the hand of the light, and will let the light flow more strongly and powerfully in our life. So sort of to finish up, okay, one more quick thought, because it was a recent revelation for me, because you're all good people. You know, I was talking to one of the students outside of America, and in this conversation came up something similar we say today. Oh, you know, we talked about cause and effect. It's a newer student, and this person was saying, oh, but look at this, you know, this person, look at the people who have good and they're not doing the spiritual stuff, or they're acting in a bad way and this and this. So one, we talked about it, it seems, right? Our illusion says, because you can see people, I mean, I had a story, anyway, cut to the chase, this person who was living in this $50 million house, Palm Beach, you know, had all this stuff. But the chauffeur that was a student in the center told me, when they'd fly in on their private plane and the chauffeur would go pick him up, drunk as a skunk, right? Was just basically drunk all the time, but living what most people would say, the life. So I was telling this newer student, yeah, you don't know what else is going on in this person's life. Yeah, they may look like they got everything, but they're still doing bad things. And then this is the new revelation for me that I put out to you now. So think of somebody like that. You see somebody who's doing even whatever, mean, impatient, kind of nasty stuff, and they look like they have all the good. Ask yourself, how long could you do that nasty thing they're doing and be happy with what you think you'd get? In other words, you look at them and you say, these are nasty, mean, you know, they're always aggressive and critical people, but they have the big house, the car, and the job. How long could you be mean, rotten, and nasty and critical of everybody and judging everybody to have the car and the house? How long would that last for you? And when I said that to this student, it was like, wake up, right? Because isn't that in essence what we're saying? If there's no cause and effect and this person does a bad thing and they got all that good stuff, so wouldn't you want to do the same bad thing to get the good stuff? No, but you and I wouldn't last very long, because we're already beyond that. We're working to be better in the light. We couldn't go back into the darkness. So then we have to go back, like we're saying today. Just act like the light. So when I wrote on the, I guess even the title of this, it's not our fault, it's just unfair. No, now we want to look at it differently. It's not our fault. What we're learning here, it's our opportunity and our benefit to use the support system to turn it back into good. It's not a fault. It's not a disadvantage. You understand? It's our opportunity and it can be our benefit. So let's not look at it as unfair. We see it as part of this perfect system. It works identically for everybody. So just because it looks different for different people doesn't mean the system didn't work. We still want to use it our way because our way is different. We each have our own piece of the light of the Creator. We each have our own talents and ability. We each have our own tikkun process, our correction process. So let's just move forward no matter what it looks like around us. Look in your mirror. You live Kabbalah. Embrace the challenges as opportunities to pay your spiritual debt, pennies on the dollar, and have greater blessings. Let's set an example for other people to follow. Let them see the light shining from your face brightly. Let them see the glow that's emanating from you of happiness, joy, peace, love, even through the difficulties and through the challenges. So that at some point when they're seeing us, enough of us embracing the challenges and coming out shiny, bright, happy, serene, and ultimately long-term more blessed, we will be setting the example. They will also follow our example, because who wouldn't want to? See the chaos and overcome it. Turn the curses to blessings. So they'll do the same thing. And then we'll all create what we always talk about. We'll be able to manifest as the mission of the center. Remove the angel of death. Let it be the angel of life and light once again. And finish off pain, suffering, and death. But with mercy. And with all of us working together, we can make it happen in our lifetime. May it come that quickly. God bless. Okay. Thank you. To make it happen, as we do every week, I'm sure those of you who have teachers, we have the technology. We just need your support. Your support. And so the blessing is the more you give, the more you get. It's really that simple. We've got to go back and remember money is simply a vessel. So people put greedy energy in their money, then it will come back in a greedy way, because what goes around comes around. This is why we take this time now to bless our offering, because in supporting what the center does, I think I've shared it once here or there, one of the teachers used a very simple term. The contributions that you make to the center to support the Zohar project, which again, if you don't have at least one of these, get one for your car, for your purse, for your pocket, for your family, for your friends. But the contributions you make to the center, in essence, and this is the term the teacher used, you're leasing the technology of the center. The same way, your cell phone. Why do you pay your cell phone bill? To lease the technology of all the cell sites of that company, so that you benefit by being able to use your cell phone, right? So you don't say, oh, I have to pay the bill. Okay, some people might, but you pay the bill because you want to lease their technology. So if this technology of the Kabbalah Center is to remove the angel of death and transform all chaos and confusion into harmony, order, peace, and eternal blessing, then we all want to lease a piece of that also. So like anything else, why do they, and I know I'm going to spend this extra second, but when you go to sign up for a cell service, don't they have different plans? It's not one plan fits all. You pay this much, you get whatever, 50 minutes, you pay this much, you get these gigabytes. The more you pay, the more you get, right? So how much more then does it come to what we do in the center? The more one gives, and remember, like let's say tithing, 10% is 10%. That's equal for everybody. So if a person makes $1 million and they give 100,000, that's 10%. If a person makes 1,000 and gives 100, that's 10%. Equal effort, equal blessing. But if a person makes $10,000 and gives 1,000, and somebody makes 10 million and only gives $500,000, the one who gave the 10% gets more blessing, because they gave 10%. The one that only gave 5%, even though it looks like so much more, it's still only 5%. So relative to their ability, they didn't give the 10. They gave less. So the universe has to give them less. So this is why all I ask of you is open your heart and give what you can with that little extra effort, because you want to lease what the center's doing and have the miracles to transcend what's going on in the world, to not be affected by all the chaos, to be able to be in the 99% realm of harmony, order, blessing, clarity, all the solutions, while you're living in the 1%. Because what good is it to know the solution for chaos, pain, and suffering and not apply it in the 1%? Because there's no chaos in the 99%. Chaos is only in the 1%. So you got to take the technology, which is what we're learning, bring it here into the 1%. That's why it's not go to the mountain, meditate, chant and all of that. No, you live it here. When the person's being mean in front of you, like we said today, instead of being a victim, be the victor. Shine light, effort. Share more of what the Creator put inside you. And that's all we're doing here. So for those of you here, please hold your offering in your hand. Those of you online, I put the site that you can also contribute. But let's do the meditation, and then we'll do our meditation on the 72 names. Just quick preview, okay? So just hold it in your hands. And remember, you're filling it. What you fill it with is what the universe will bring back to you. So we want to, one, have just gratitude and appreciation for the light that fills our soul. The 100% light inside of us. That is all the power, all the clarity, all the technology, all the resources to manifest through our effort, our actions, a life of complete peace, harmony, joy, bliss. And knowing there's only one soul on earth that appears to be in 8 billion people, but it's our one soul. So through the consciousness of love our neighbor as ourself, which means seeing that they are me. So I send this gift out through the projects of the center, the Zohar project, and teaching this practical, daily, applicable wisdom, bringing it to 8 billion people on the planet, that each one will have an awakening and an empowerment from their soul to act with greater love, kindness, and compassion than they have ever acted before, and continually growing in that day by day. And as we're pushing ourselves to make our greater effort, we know with certainty that the universe will bring us back also greater blessings, clarity, support, guidance than it ever has in our life up to this point, and continually more and more. And together we say, Amen. So those of you who'd like to stay with us, let me put it here for those of you here in the room. Hey Resh Yud, one of the 72 names. Those of you who are brand new, what you see in front of you, the Hebrew letters, are not a construct of any human being. They are primordial. They are sourced in the endless world. They are manifestations of various frequencies of the light of the Creator. And so each one of these shapes shines a particular frequency. And in this case, Hey Resh Yud, as they're combined together, allows us to see the bigger picture, long-range vision, or as we spoke today, how to see that the light is everywhere. So I know everything is exactly cause and effect, and therefore I take power and control over the cause and effect to bring greater peace, love, and harmony in my life. So just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye, Hey Resh Yud. And also, just by the way, Hey Resh Yud, as we often talk about, the Zohar, Kabbalah, is the source of all spiritual wisdom. So here, this is one of the examples I always use. Hey Resh Yud, one of the 72 names of God. You could pronounce it H-R-I, Hari, as in the Hare Krishna. Again, one of the 72 names to show you everything is sourced in the Zohar and the Kabbalah. So if I can ask you, sit comfortably in your seat, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Taking a few deep breaths to relax into the light. Breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Creating a stronger and more conscious circulation of the light of the Creator through the very breath we breathe, that empowers and enlivens every cell of our body, our ability to walk, talk, to be alive in this world. Relaxing into the light, allowing the light in the breath to increase the circulation of the light, the awakening of the light inside each and every cell of our body, inside each and every person on earth. Allow yourself to feel enfolded in the light of the Creator. Unconditional love, peace, serenity. Feeling yourself being cuddled by this light. And together we'll envision the Hey, Resh, Yud. See it just above your head, shining, glowing with this light of the Creator. Vibrating with the power to see through the illusion, to see beyond the illusion, the physicality of the moment, to be able to see the cause and effect of all things in our life, and to be able to empower us to act transcendent of what's happening in the moment, to see the long-term effects of our behavior, thereby empowering greater actions of transformational sharing, a higher level of kindness, love, generosity, compassion, forgiveness. And so think of one situation in your life you need that support to be and see transcendently. And now let's draw the Hey, Re, Shud and its power through the top of our head, see and feel its bright light shining and filling not just your 1% mind, but awakening the mind of the Creator inside you, the true mind and thoughts of your soul. Open your heart and ask your soul now, as you're more tuned in. Ask it for clarity and guidance in that situation. And listen to the voice of your soul, to its response, to the words of guidance. For those who may not be hearing an answer, ask again. Prove you have a desire to hear the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, because you have a desire to transcend the 1% chaos and live more each day in the 99% clarity, guidance, peace, serenity. And now allow the Hey, Re, Shud and its power to expand, to shine from above, through the top of your head, through your spiritual soul mind to all the rest of your body, to empower through the light in every cell of your body to the physical cells, to be able to implement that which you were told, to implement the uncomfortable aspect of sharing that your soul inspired you and revealed to you, that will bring greater peace and harmony, light from darkness, blessings from chaos and discord. Feel your whole body shining with this energy of clarity, Hey, Re, Shud. And together, with laser intensity, let's shine a beam of this Hey, Re, Shud from our heart and our soul together in unity to the heart and soul of every human being on earth, awakening the depth of the light in their soul, this true power of transcendence, clarity, that we remove from that collective opponent programming all aspects of blame, victimization, all limitation, and allow the light to channel through each and every one of us, all 8 billion people, today on a higher level, a brighter level, and each day moving forward, another level up, another level up, darkness, limitations, illusions disappearing in the face of the light, the pure light of the Creator. And let us see with the eyes of our heart the world as the Creator sees it: peace, love, harmony, unity. So that that vision is empowered by each and every one of us, accelerating the manifestation of that goal, of that objective: peace, harmony, living in the Garden of Eden, heaven on earth. And together we'll take one more deep breath, anchoring this into our heart and soul, and then slowly exhale as you're opening your eyes. All right, God bless. Thank you all. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.